Three major slaughterhouses from Brazil, JBS, Marfrig, and Masterboy, are boycotting the supply to the biggest supermarket group in Brazil, which happens to be French. I'm talking about the Carrefour group, the biggest chain of supermarkets in Brazil, and it has been like this for the past maybe 20, 30 years or more. When I was a kid, I used to go to Carrefour, and I'm 44 years old. What's going on exactly in Brazil? I'm going to explain you everything after the intro, so you're not gonna want to miss this. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Hello guys, I'm back with BU News Round-up, a show that I used to have here on the channel that at the beginning was under my supervision, and then Brad Zuka took over, and I stopped doing the show because of my tight schedule, but I'm back with it. I'll try to be regular here every day to show you what's going on from inside Brazil, being reported by a Brazilian, the one who speaks. So guys, I have a very important piece of report to bring you to kickstart the return of the show, which is three major slaughterhouses, JBS, Marfrig, and Masterboy, are boycotting the supply of beef to the biggest supermarket chain in Brazil, the Carrefour group. What's going on exactly? Well, for me to explain what is happening, I need to tell you that the European Union bloc had been negotiating an agreement with the Mercosur. And what is the Mercosur exactly? This is the economic bloc we have in South America, composed by Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay, and Brazil, of course. Now with two new members, Bolivia and Venezuela, being the first of four countries I have mentioned, the founding members of the group, and the last one, Venezuela, suspended until second notice because of internal and political problems. So guys, Mercosur for 20 years had been trying to negotiate an economic agreement with the European Union. And this agreement involves the agricultural part, not only, but in its majority, agricultural negotiations and agreements. Well, what happens was, the Carrefour CEO of the group, called Alexandre Bompard, wrote a message to the Farmers Union leader in France called Arnaud Rousseau, telling that even though the agreement between Mercosur and the European Union came out finally in 2019, the farmers of France didn't have to worry about the Brazilian or the Mercosur beef coming into the country, because the CEO was guaranteeing for them that no meat coming from the bloc would be consumed in their stores inside France. Check it out. Pay attention to what I'm saying. The CEO of the group, Alexandre Bompard, okay, Alexandre Bompard, told the leader of the Farmers Union in French that he didn't have to worry, because no meat that came from the bloc of South America would be consumed in their stores. They would boycott all the meat that were provenient from the group. Well, this piece of news fell really bad, or it fell like a bomb to the people here in South America, including the Brazilians, of course. Well, the decision of the Brazilians was not to provide any beef, any meat to the Carrefour group, which involves the Carrefour supermarket, a very big one. I myself have already made a video inside Carrefour to show the way that things are sold in Brazil and everything. Another very important supermarket that I normally use, called Atacadão. They are a wholesale supermarket and they have probably the best prices in the market. So I really love going there with my family because of the low prices and the quantity. So this one was also boycotted, and Sam's Club, which also belongs to the group. The three supermarkets have been boycotted by the Brazilian slaughterhouses right now because of this. Guys, the situation is so complicated that even the agricultural minister, Carlos Favaro from Brazil, supported the decision of the slaughterhouses. He doesn't accept the fact that the CEO of the biggest supermarket in Brazil comes to public and says his group is going to boycott all the meat that is provenient from the Mercosur group. Guys, okay, the CEO, after the damage was done, he decided to come to public through his office, and he decided to explain himself. He said, look, what I meant was inside the French territory. All the operations in Brazil will continue being supplied the same way it has always been. We will continue buying from the Brazilian slaughterhouses to sell you guys internally. What we are doing is just inside France. We are not going to boycott the Brazilian meat inside Brazil and inside the other countries of the Mercosur. So don't worry about that. Well, guys, of course the slaughterhouse didn't accept that explanation. It found it to be ridiculous because you are still boycotting the meat from being sold inside the Mercosur. So after 20 years trying to find an agreement between some common ground between the two blocs, the French giant is coming to public and say they are going to boycott all the meat to protect the farmers of France. Of course, the business people here didn't like this very much. But there is something I think it's important for me to mention. The Carrefour group, as I said, it's the biggest one in operation in Brazil. It's a French chain. But I want to bring you the numbers of 2023. Carrefour made 115.4 billion reais working in Brazil, according to the ABRAS, which is the Brazilian Association of Supermarkets. They brought a ranking, and Carrefour tops the list as the number one in profit. They made 115.4 billion reais working in Brazil in 2023. So, of course, he's desperate because the news didn't come out okay for the business people's ears, especially the meat packers of the country, okay? So, these are the points that relate to the agribusiness I want to tell you. So the European Union should exempt 82% of the agricultural imports from Mercosur from tariffs. Brazilian agricultural products such as orange juice, fruits, instant coffee, fish, crustaceans, and vegetable oils will have tariffs eliminations. Brazilian exporters will also have preference in the sales of beef, pork, and poultry, sugar, ethanol, rice, eggs, and honey. The agreement has a safeguard mechanism that will allow the implementation of temporary measures in the event of an unexpected and significant increase in imports that could cause losses to domestic companies and agricultural producers. It's in the agreement. Some products will be subject to a value established by quotas, including beef, poultry, pork, rice, and honey. Mercosur and the EU commit to reducing obstacles to sanitary and phytosanitary measures. The EU and Mercosur commit to effectively implementing the Paris Agreement on climate change, which includes, among other issues, combating deforestation and reducing greenhouse gas emissions. According to the EU, there will be no change to the continent's food safety and animal health standards. That is, the bloc will continue to be able to block the entry of products that do not meet local requirements. So these are the points of the agreement they have come in 2019. So another important thing to say is this agreement was discussed for 20 years because France blocked it a lot. Spain and Germany were already for, the agreement between the two blocs, but the French were always making it difficult, according to the reports, not my opinion, okay? So guys, Carrefour, to defend themselves against what the Brazilians are doing and saying, they say that prior to this agreement, 100% of the meat sold inside their stores were already from the French farmers. So it basically won't change anything to the agreement between the EU and the Mercosur. Well, so far, the other side here, our side, they haven't accepted this as a good explanation. Okay? Well, what do I have to say about this? What is my opinion? Guys, I know that every country has to protect themselves from other products, but I'm not sure this is the right way. Of course, I think Carrefour CEO Alexandre Bompard made a big mistake by coming out and saying this. I know the letter was addressed to the Farmers Union leader, but anyways, it fell to the media and it was not a good way to be dealt, I guess. I think we live in a globalized world. I don't know if boycotting a product from another nation that you've been trading with is the best solution, especially when that country is your second most profitable market. Okay, so that's why they are trying to manage the damage at this point. But there is another side, guys. Brazilians, they defend themselves a lot. Okay, that's not the first time groups get together in order to protect their own interests. I don't think this is weird. I think every nation has this, but the Brazilians are very nationalists on this part. I'll give you an example. Maybe 10 years ago or less, Spain started barring Brazilian nationals from going into the country as easily as it used to be before that. Well, they had their reasons for doing so, but when the news fell in Brazil and the Brazilians learned that our citizens were being barred from going into Spain, what happened? We paid on the same way. So Itamaraty, the foreign ministry of Brazil, decided to start barring Spanish nationals from coming into Brazil. It was a big clash. It lasted maybe a month or so, but after a while, after negotiations between the diplomats of both countries, they came to an agreement and decided to forget everything, to make amends and keep moving with their lives. That's basically what happens in Brazil. Once they learned about the boycott, they said, okay, let's boycott Carrefour as well. And apparently this is happening, or this is starting to happen with other Brazilian companies as well, not only the Meatpackers. So I think the situation will get very ugly before it can get better. Well, I'm going to come back here and bring you the outcome of this situation that is still playing out. But so far, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, remember to smash this like button. Be part of this new era on the channel where we're going to be more frequent, more focused on producing videos of quality. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, leave your comment. I want to hear from you. Thank you very much, and I will see you very soon. Bye-bye, BU Nation.